Awaken the light. The cosmos is within you. Remember who you are.
Hi, everybody. How are you all doing this lovely day? Going live on TikTok too. So let me put this on. Hey, TikTok. How you doing today? How is everybody? Yeah, it's Thursday. It feels like Friday. Hey, TikTok. Hey, YouTube. I'm just trying to help get the message to as many people as I possibly can. And yes, I'm doing the setup here so that I can be in a comfortable position to talk to everyone. So I hope all is well. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. I hope all is well on this lovely day. Yeah? Waiting for TikTok folks to come on in. We'll see who joins. Yes. So I'm going to turn the chat on here so I can see what's happening. If anybody's on the chat, how you doing, TikTok? Hey, I'm doing a dual screen here. I had a little glitch with Restream, who all of a sudden decided that with the subscription I purchased to do portrait and landscape, they decided to tell me that, oh, it's never been like that. You're supposed to pay $50 a month for that, which I have never paid for the past 2 months. So, yes, I'm on Restream, but I am going to try SteamYard. Hey, whoever's joining, hi on TikTok. I'm doing YouTube and TikTok. I can't, hi, George, if you're going to stay here. I can't do all the chat work on TikTok, but thank you. Thank you for being here. Okay. And yes, I need to do a live stream where I can just focus on TikTok. And for those of you who are joining, today I'm going to teach the practice that goes along with IB, the heart. And so there is a practice guide for everyone who is here and on TikTok. If you go to the link in bio and go to power-profit.com/community, you will see the IB practice guide there. It's called IB, the Weighted Heart. YouTube, as you can see, it's right here, the QR code. You go straight to it, look in the little calendar section. And in the calendar section, it's right at the top by the word calendar. If you scroll down, it's also in the practice guide session, IB, the heart weighted. Okay. So YouTube, there's a QR code, there it is for you. I'll put it up once again if you need me to. But again, YouTube, go to the link in bio, and you can get to the community page from there to download the actual IB practice guide. Okay. Hey, TikTok. I'm doing a dual stream. I'm working on the Restream, which has restricted me to landscape. So I have you on my phone as usual. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to try StreamYard, and I'll give you an update on that as a place to live stream from. Restream keeps changing their prices on their subscriptions for various technologies, for various capabilities. And it's the second time they told me I had to pay more for what I paid for, the first time around. So I'm going to have to be done with them because it seems like there's no truth in lending, although this isn't a bank. But I mean, I'm paying to be lent these services, and they keep moving the bar. The system is rigged. TikTok again. The practice guide, the IB practice guide is that power-profit/community. Okay. The IB practice guide is there in 2 spaces on that web page, and it's one is in a calendar and one is in a practice guide session. And that's where we're going to be today, my friends. So welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all coming to the IB practice. Lay it down. So come in, take a good breath, my friends. Exhale it out. Get it all out, right? Because we are going to do something a little different today, okay? And I do not want you to miss a minute of it. And before we even get started with that, I just have to do a little housekeeping here so we don't forget what is important to this message reaching folks. TikTok, please follow. TikTok, please like. I mean, that would be helpful. And also while you're there, TikTok, share this live stream with others so they can come and hear this message. I work toward the good of all people. And in order to do that, I need help because I'd otherwise be talking to myself. YouTube, comment. Look, if you're here today and you're going to be here for a minute, both TikTok and YouTube, write IB in the comments or in the chat, IB, in caps, so that I know you're here and I know you're seeking. Okay? TikTok, YouTube, you know the drill. You have to subscribe and you have to like. If you like what I do, you keep coming back, subscribe and like so the algorithm can work and more people can have access to this information, not because I am vain, egocentric, and I want all eyes on me. No, because I hopefully am sharing information that could help others do whatever they need to do better for them, right? I mean, I don't know what this message does for people. I send it out. People get what they get, right? But I need your help in helping the message get in the algorithm, YouTube. So work with me here, okay? Please comment, like, and subscribe. That's enough of that. I got issues doing this work, but I could be, look, I started the game as a saleswoman, right? One of my second, I was doing 2 jobs, 18, 19. I was a manager of a fitness center. I became a manager because I could sell my arse off. I could still tap into those skills and strategies, but now it's a little bit more nuanced, right? And believe it or not, from working in the fitness center as a manager, I became an assistant manager of a gym that was going to open. I'm just giving you this little story about the skill set that's sitting here, right? I was the assistant manager with a good friend of mine at another gym. The gym wasn't even built. The gym had nothing in it but a dream and a blueprint. And yes, my friends, I sold fitness centers on a dream and a blueprint. So if I need to get in that modality, I can. And maybe I should, but I let the spirit guide me now. Back then, I was just money hungry. Now I walk in my higher mind, synergized with the divine intelligence. So enough of that. All right. So all week, we have been in the heart, the IB. Okay. All week, we have done this. On the first day, which was Tuesday, the commentary, my friends, we named the trial, right? We named the trial that you have been living in. And I need to broaden that out a little bit because I got a comment in my DMs or the comment on one of my streams, and they said, who is they? I say they a lot in talking about what the opposition is, right? And I want to be clear. I do talk a lot about they, meaning the response to blackness by whiteness and all of its permutations. But they, not but, in addition, they could be a lover, a spouse, friends. It could be your family. It could be any entity that is creating a response in you that has you questioning your worth. They could be any entity that has you questioning your worth. So I hope I'm clearing that up for folks. Because, yes, I could welcome every new member. Hi, TikTok. Look, the they is whatever entity is giving you discomfort in such a way that you question the very essence, your worth of who you are. That they could be any entity. So let me be clear about that. Okay? But I do come to this focusing on Kim folks, Black folks. Because not only do we have entities like smaller entities in our life that have us questioning our worth, but we live inside a machinery that operates on that level 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay? And so the areas of discomfort are on a social ecological scale. All right. Now I'm getting ready to drop into some academic training and teaching. The social ecological scale is used a lot in public health. And it starts really with the intrapersonal. Like, what are we saying to ourselves, right? How are we manifesting the beliefs? You know, what do we believe? What are our attitudes, right? So that they could even be the individual against themselves, which is usually where I start, right? So what are the beliefs, the attitudes, the behaviors that have you questioning your worth? That's one level. The intra, and of course I'm a communication scholar, so the intrapersonal. Next goes to the interpersonal. So again, I'm dealing with the issue of somebody saying, who is they? So the first they could be you against you. The second they could be interpersonal. Who are you interacting with, right? Interpersonal could be your loved one, your relationship with somebody, right? That could be the they that are having you sit in discomfort. The interpersonal could also be what is happening at your job, in your career. It could be your coworkers, your networking circles, your social circles, right? The interpersonal could also be friends, right? Peers, family members, co-workers. So we got the intrapersonal as a possible they, you making you feel like you're not worthy or questioning your worthiness yourself. Interpersonal could make you be questioning your worth. Again, co-workers, family, friends, social networks. Okay. And friends, I mean like your friend group, right? Okay, so then we go from the intra to the inter, and then we're going to take it to a community level. Your community in which you live could have you questioning your worth. So that they could be the community, right? That's making you prove that you deserve to exist. The community environment is an organic entity. And I'm kind of giving you the quick cliff notes on this. And then you go from the community and you go to the society, the societal interaction, right? What is the discourses, the narratives in society, the machinery in society, right? Intersecting systems in society. And the intersecting systems could be the institution, right? With what else? With politics, economics, education, right? Intersecting systems that have you questioning your worth. And for me, the societal has everything wrapped up in it, because we know who we are based on the ways in which society tells us and conditions us, unless you got some really phenomenal parents that have done a phenomenal work on you. And then you still fighting against what society says you are, particularly as a Kim person. So those are the different theys: the intrapersonal, you and you; the interpersonal, co-workers, friends, families, social networks; the community, the environment in which you live could have you questioning your if you deserve to exist; and then society, right? So those are the various layers that I sit in when I'm talking about they, right? I tend to keep my conversation at the societal, because society impacts the intrapersonal, the interpersonal, and community. Okay? All right. That's what I mean when I say they. They. And that's what the AKH Ascension is about, the theys. It always got to be about race, but I do work with Black folks. And so we got to recognize the ways in which this society has us questioning who we are. And the thing about it is, once you see the programming, right? Once you see the programming, then everything starts to make sense. The intrapersonal changes, the interpersonal changes, and your relationship with your community changes. Okay? So I could be at the basic level with the intrapersonal with helping people, and then I operate in the societal level. So I cover all bases on that social ecological model. So on the first day of this week, thank you for the hearts, baby. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you, Puchina. Thank you for saying your name. Hello. All right. How y'all doing? YouTube, I'm here. I know I'm trying to get the information out the best way I know how. For some reason, I'm already hot. Maybe because I tried to look cute today with my little spicy blast shirt. That's clashing with my background. So on the first day of this week in the commentary, we named the trial. We talked about the trial that you, me have been living inside. And by the trial, I mean the society. So when I say they, the trial, that's society and the people who facilitate that trial. Okay? The endless audit, the exhausting belief, my friends, that you have to prove that you deserve to exist. Even saying that is crazy. And then yesterday in the teaching, I showed you a truth, and everything. Somebody was telling me I got to deal with these things as the spirit drops on me. So I said, I showed you a truth yesterday that ends the trial, right? And so when people telling me that, the NTR comedic, I'm wrong, telling me I got it all wrong, I'm Rastafarian, just telling me all this stuff. Let me just set the record straight right here. I teach what was given to me through the divine intelligence. I don't ascribe to any group think, any organizational understanding. My understanding of what I teach has been downloaded into me, and I am directed into the realms of knowledge that I need to facilitate this message. So don't get me twisted with somebody who needs some affinity with some group. Or it's like, oh my God, that's wrong. That's the Kemet NTR, whatever. Or the Rastas. I am so anti-affiliation with any group that I just can't even begin to explain how none of that means, and I don't even get mad at them, because people have to have the little labels in their boxes. And like I said, I take a trauma-informed approach. That's why I don't get mad. People are where they are. But I am so elevated. And you could think that's egocentric all you want. I am so elevated above any of that ridiculousness. I say ancient African, not because I'm trying to align myself with some spiritual or religious tradition. I am saying that I'm directed to understand spirituality. The divine intelligence told me where to go. And there is no book of knowledge of Bibleness in any of this that I'm drawing on. There's the Orishas, there's Rastafarians, there's Kemet, there's all these things. I ascribe to none of them. None. Don't try to place me, because I am beyond all of that. And you could say that's egocentric. Who do I think I am? I am a child of the divine intelligence. I'm representative of the divine intelligence on this earth. And you cannot place the divine intelligence as a Rasta, as a Kemetic religion, as a Catholic, as a Christian, as a Lutheran, as a whatever else. I speak to Melanin Metaphysics. You tell me what religion that is. You tell me what spirituality that is. You tell me what that is. That is beyond anything, and that is everything. So don't try to pigeonhole me. That's why I'm not in the machine right now. I don't ascribe to boxes, and I don't ascribe to your understanding of the mother tongue, because my direction comes from the divine intelligence. That's where I sit, and that's who I am. A corporal manifestation of the divine intelligence on this earth. And I speak with all authority, because I've sat in the darkness. I've been through the trials and the tribulations. And not just in this lifetime, but in many lifetimes. So don't pigeon me because you need a name and a box and a rule and a boundary. That's the BS that we're living in right now. The boundaries, the box, the holes, the labels. You can keep all that. Remember, I am first and foremost Akma. And that's beyond and before any of the terminologies that you have to classify what you do and who you are and how you behave and your spirituality. I'm not the one. And you don't scare me. You don't worry me. You don't concern me. And you see, I didn't apologize for none of that. You tell me if you'd apologize for how you sit in your spirituality. Put it in the comments on YouTube and Facebook. Do you apologize for what you believe in? Yes or no? Because if you let somebody move your behind, you don't believe in nothing. They can so easily take you someplace. I guess I ain't got it right. No, y'all, I'm gonna say a word that I shouldn't be saying because I am spiritual. Somebody gonna say that ain't spiritual. Fuck that. I feel like dancing. So I don't even try to claim I know everything. I say yesterday in the teaching, I showed you a truth. The truth is I see it and I know it. And I showed you a truth that ends it, that your heart is weighed not on somebody's rigged scale. And I'm getting ready to say there again. Remember, I went through the ecological level there. It could be you against you, the interpersonal, co-workers, friends, family, social networks, community response as an organic entity, and society, right? So I showed you a truth that ends the trial, that your heart is weighted not on their scale, whomever that is, right? Because their scale is rigged, right? You are weighed against the feather of truth. And we know that's Ma'at's feather of truth, the ostrich feather. And they ain't got nothing. Whoever that they is for you, they got nothing to do with that scale. Okay? Because on that scale, you're already light, right? And yes, I'm taking liberties with the whole hall of Ma'at and in the underworld and Anubis and Horus. That's my privilege to be directed by the divine intelligence in this way. So I am going to put the id practice in your hands today. My name is Minister Dr. Akila Ka Ma'at, and this is the AKH Ascension, my friends. And here is my promise to you after all that preamble. For the next little while, right? By the time we are done today, you are going to walk away with 3 things. Get your pen and paper. 3 things. You will have the practice itself. A simple thing you can do in a few minutes, any morning, any night, any time of day by yourself. Okay? You will have a written declaration in your own words that becomes yours to keep. Get the IB practice guide on power-profit.com/community. And you will have a daily write, 90 seconds long, that keeps the old weight from climbing back if you are disciplined enough to do it. So, 3 things: the practice, the declaration, and the daily write. Okay? All right? So I'm going to teach all of this so clearly today. All right? That you can do it by yourself without me tomorrow morning, anytime, in your kitchen, your dining room, wherever your bedroom, at work in the bathroom, at work at your desk, right? So, and then for those who would rather be led all the way through, some folks do like the guided practice, although one of my clips, I was very clear that guided practice is okay, but you can't get addicted to being guided because this work you have got to do on your own, my kin peoples, and everybody else who may be here. Okay? So, if you'd rather be led all the way through it, gently, from the first breath to the last, I'm going to tell you exactly where the full guided practice lives. So you can get something to write with, my friends, all right? And settle in. Get the IB practice guide. This is the teaching you are going to want to keep, my friends. All right? So what this practice is and why. Okay, let me tell you what this practice is really doing, my friends. Okay, so that you understand it and you do not have to go right, you don't just go through the motions. Okay, and so where am I at? In the oldest spiritual traditions of righteousness on this earth, okay, the heart, the ib, is weighted against the feather of ma'at. I already shared that. Okay. And that's against truth. All right. And what we uncovered this week is is that it would take, is that it would, excuse me, and what we uncovered this week is that the world took that sacred weighing and turned it into a fraudulent audit. Okay, they turned it into a fraudulent audit, a scale rigged, my friends, to read you as not enough, no matter what you set on it, my kin peoples. Now, let me make that scale real for you, because you carry it more than you may be cognizant of, right? Okay. And so, and that's the thing, this is the internal residue that we don't question because we don't believe it's happening to us. We don't question it because um, of ignorance. We just don't know. Um, and we don't question it because we're scared sometimes. All right. So let me make the scale real. Because, as I said, we carry it more than we know. You walk into a room, my friends, and before you've even said a word, some part of you is scanning the room. Okay, of course, we need to be safe, right? But some people scan it. Some people may scan it in a different way, and others. Am I dressed right? Did I talk too much? Are they comfortable with me? Did I earn my place at the table yet? Now, we may question it not using those words, so you put your own words in there for you. Okay? That scanning, my friend, that you are carrying is that is you, excuse me, that scanning, my friend, that is you carrying your heart to their scale and asking for a ruling, right? Asking for a ruling one more time, because we do it over and over again. You do it in the meeting, you do it at the family dinner. You do it in the mirror, my friends, before you have had your coffee. You do it with your mate. You do it with your friends. You do it when you're networking. Okay? And you have done it so long that you think it is your personality to scan and to question the very essence of who you are. It is not your personality. It's not. It is a weight, a weight. And today, my goal is to help us, you, take it the hell off, because it is a burden. I mean, truly, it is a burden. I mean, some things have to stay. We got to be safe. And we got to know what we're getting ready to walk into. You know what I mean? But there has to be a balance, my friends. Okay? Because you have been carrying this your whole life on that scale. For most of us, some of you have overcome that in some way. And even if we do overcome in some measure, you know, if we want to do things out in this world, we don't necessarily put ourselves on that scale, but we have to be cognizant that we could be put on a scale, you know? And so there's resentments you never chose to keep, regrets and visit you at 2 a.m, you know, that sleepy time you wake up or hard going to sleep, verdicts about yourself, my friends, that were handed to you when you were far too young to refuse them. And this practice does one thing, okay? It takes your worth off their scale as often as you can do the practice, my friends, and it takes the weight off your heart. In the guide, I call it the weighing and the release. So get the practice guide on www.power-profit.com/community. Okay. And I must be very clear about one word before I go on, before we go on, because it is the hinge of this whole thing. Okay. This is release work. You know, the power of release. My program, Recognize, Release, and Reframe. This is release work, and it is forgiveness work, my friends, but not the kind you were taught in some other setting. Let me say that again because I know someone needs to hear this. We are not going to pretend a thing that hurt you did not hurt you. Forgiveness here does not mean it was okay. It means you unhook. You unhook. Because, well, picture it like this, okay? Somebody hurt you years ago, and that hurt has been sitting on your chest every single morning since. Unhooking does not mean you call that person up and tell them it was fine. It was not fine. Unhooking means you decide that they do not get to keep sitting on your chest anymore. Okay? You're not letting them off the hook. Remember that. You are taking your own heart off of it. Hold on to that distinction because that is a phenomenal way to go in this life, right? Because it is exactly what sets you free. So here is the practice. Remember, if you want the full guided practice, it's in the temple. Okay? So here is the practice. It has 7 simple movements, my friends, and I'm going to teach you each one, tell you what it is doing, and warn you about the place people usually get stuck. You do this in the dark, ideally saturated in Kim, in blackness. You could do it in the pre-dawn stillness, even at night, the dark awake. One of my practices was to go into my closet, a little walk-in closet, pitch black dark, where my eyes could be open and there was not a single piece of light. The dark awake is real. Kim people must be saturated in and attuned to Kim. Okay? I'm going to say it one more time. Many times when we meditate, like when we go to sleep, we just disregard the darkness behind our eyes. You know, we go to sleep, we're just there. We don't really look at, it's dark, right? You meditate, it's just dark. You're not really tuned in. No, Kim people, when you meditate in the style that I am sharing, you attune to the blackness. You attune to it. You don't ignore the darkness behind your eyes. No, you sit in it. Okay? You don't dismiss any of that. If you're in a closet, the door is shut, it's pitch black. Your eyes are open. You attune to the darkness. You know, we're so scared of being in the dark. That's a cultural thing. It's not, we should never be scared of the dark. How can Kim people be scared of the dark? That means you're scared of yourself. My bedroom, you can get blackout drapes, but I got the blackout drapes, black drapes. When I shut my drapes, there's not a drop of light. When I put down my Google, whatever that is, media thing that has a time on it, I don't see anything because I can't see any radiating numbers in the back. My phone is turned upside down. It is pitch black. That's what I mean, black. And sometimes it is scary because what's that? But you got to understand, it's nothing there that's going to harm you unless you open up portals to some spirits that may not be necessarily supportive or benevolent, right? Those exist too. The dark awake is real, okay? And so you do this practice in the dark, in Kim, right? Through the truth, though the truth is that you can do it in any quiet moment. You can still on your own. It could be on the beach with the sun blaring, right? It doesn't matter, right? So let me walk you through 7. All right. I'm going to try to do this quick. I know it's Thursday. You know, people like, I don't know what's going on around here. I got to work. Oh my gosh, she takes so much time talking about this stuff. The first movement, in the dark, you place your hands over your heart. You take 3 slow breaths. That's all. Simple, right? Put true or false in the comments, in the chat. Is that simple? Take 3 slow breaths, put your hand on the heart, true, false. Let me know, people. Is that simple or not? Okay? That's all. But I want you to hear why. The hand on the heart is not decoration, my friends. The heart is the id, right? The seat of you, all of you. And when you lay your heart, when you lay your hand on your chest, you are telling your body, I am here. I am listening. Most of us have not laid a hand or a kind hand on ourselves in years. Like, do you touch yourself? People are scared of doing that. But do you touch yourself with love, care, and compassion? A kind hand, not a judgmental hand to feel your cellulite, squeeze your fat, right? A kind, non-judgmental hand, okay? So the 3 breaths are important, right? They bring you down out of your busy, defended mind and into the one place this work actually happens. And for those of you who saw my videos on the death breath, you know, your 3 breaths, you inhale, you exhale, let it all out, and you sit in that expiration. As you die, right? All the breaths come out of you. I call it the death breath. That is extremely effective in resting you. More than when you hold it at the top, it's opening up your pineal gland area, that hypothalamus area there where we get the downloads, right? Where our third eye is active. Some scientists say, no, it's not the pineal gland of itself. There's a little area here, a hypothalamus area. And I'll be more specific once I get some more terms on this. I'm just bringing it to you today without doing all the necessary research, but I have read this in my research, right? And so when you're inhaling and you hold at the top, you're opening up your crown, opening up your third eye. And that is relaxing. When you let it out, and you hold that bad boy for as long as you can. I tend to count how long I can hold it because most people can't hold it long, right? You count or not. I'm just a counter, right? That is some serious relaxing breath. That's the death breath. I'm sure the yogis have another name for it, and the chakra people, and these all these meditation aficionados. I study metaphysics. I understand meditation. The death breath is real. Okay, so you want to get into a relaxed state of mind, out of your busy. Also, the death breath takes you down into the sacral, into your sacral root, the root chakra, right? The ground, the beginning, the all, okay? So that's the connection there as well, my friends. Okay, so where was I at? Okay, the breath, right? So we talked about the 3 breaths. It gets you out of your busy mind, as I said, out of the defended mind and into the one place this actually happens in your body. So you always begin the same way. Hand on heart, the 3 breaths. You can hold at the inhale, you can hold at the exhale, whichever feels good for you, or you don't have to hold it all, just the breaths. Okay, so in the quiet, you need some quiet. For those who are more advanced, I know that we have the capacity to block out everything else, so we can manufacture our own quietness. Those of you who are not up to that level where you can just shut everything out. Oh, I lost my earring. Something fell. Where you can just shut everything out. You want to do it in the quiet. Okay, so, and don't rush past the breath part because it's important. Don't rush through any of this part, the hand on the heart, the breath, just because it's simple. It is important, okay? Simple and shallow are not the same thing, right? So do this first movement, all right? The second movement, and if you want more on these practices are all in the temple, all right? And so is the actual guided practice for this. The second movement, you name one thing that you have been carrying on the scale. Just one. And here is where people trip up. So listen, my friends, this is what I've seen in my clients over and over again. Don't try to bring your whole life to that scale at once. It doesn't work that way. We become overwhelmed. Do not bring 20 years of everything. This practice works because it is specific. One resentment, one regret, one verdict about yourself that you have believed. That your heart show you one, right? Let your heart show you one. Wait, it is tired of carrying. So have your listening. Everything is a listening. As a Kim person, your whole body listens. So let yourself listen to that heart, okay? And you name it. This is the recognize and release. You name it honestly to yourself. You can come back tomorrow for that one. If you can't name it, right? It's okay. Just get the breaths going. This is a practice, not a one-time surgery, right? So don't put pressure on yourself to have to do all this at one time. So heart on chest, after you take your 3 breaths, right? You want to know what it's been carrying. Figure that out if you can, whatever downloads into you, name it, okay? Say it and say it, right? Name it and say it. One thing that you believed, one regret, one verdict, something you believed about yourself that you're tired of carrying. So the breath and heart, movement 1, movement 2 is naming something you're carrying. Movement 3, right? And this is the one that matters more than people ever expect. If you want to have this outline that I have, I can give it to you. TikTok, if you're there, you're interested, DM me, and I will have this available if you want this step-by-step practice. Okay, it is in the IB practice guide, but it's not this advanced, okay? And it is in the temple as a guided practice, so you can do it with me, okay? So the third movement is the one that matters more than people ever expect, my friends. You feel its weight honestly, and you say out loud, if you can, this has been heavy. So whatever you named, be honest about it. It has been heavy. When I was doing this practice, learning this practice, my specific thing was a self-critical voice, always. And it was a regret because I talked about that intrapersonal thing. I would talk myself into just depression about how horrible I was, right? And so when I, hand over heart, named it crippling self-criticism, right? I felt that it was real, right? And I said, this has been and is heavy. All right. And now here is the pitfall, and it is the big one when we're in the process of doing this, verbalizing out loud, this has been heavy. We are trained to minimize things. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We are trained to minimize, my friends. We are trained to say it was not that bad. Other people had it worse. I can't stand that. Oh, they got it worse than me. What? What's that got to do with you? Be grateful. Keep it moving. Keep it stepping. So we skip right over this step. Do not skip it. You cannot set down a weight that you will not first admit you are actually carrying, my friends. If you will not let it be heavy, it stays. It stays. So you have to tell the truth always. In my work, the client always has to tell the truth. And yes, I can accept where people are, but the goal is to assist the client in getting to a point where the truth can be said. And sometimes that is the work, period. So honesty is not a weakness, not at any level. That honesty is the beginning of the release, period. The fourth movement, right? And so I'm gonna go through them. Movement 1, the breath and the heart, as I said. Movement 2, it's understanding what you're carrying, naming it, right? And saying that it is heavy, and saying that it is heavy. That's the third movement, all right? And so the fourth movement, where am I at? Do not skip it. Yes, the fourth movement here. Now you place the feather on the other side of the scale. You can do this actually in real life if you have a scale. I mean, the actions count. The actual behavior is a space of energy and high vibration. So if you can act and do these things really, then it's going to help you see the process, and the outcome becomes more palpable than imagining, right? So now you place, it doesn't have to be an ostrich feather. It doesn't have to be a real scale. It could be 2 plates, 2 bowls, 2 areas, right? It's the activity, the action. Okay? So now you place the feather on one side of the scale, on the other side of the scale, right? Across from the naming. So you might write on a paper what you've named and put it on the scale or on the pretend scale. You put the feather on the other side, which could be a real feather. It doesn't have to be an ostrich feather. It could be something else. You could buy a feather, right? They sell feathers for this kind of work. Okay. And so once you have the feather placed on the other side, you say, this is what is actually true, my friends. This is what you say. You are deliberately setting the truth of your worth right next to the weight so that your heart can see the two side by side. The feather is the lightness. It is you not being on trial because you never were. It is you not having to prove you do to exist, that you deserve to exist because you already do. This is the intent. This is the activity. This is the meaning behind the truth of the feather. Okay? So, the feather of your own God-given worth, divine intelligence worth. I don't like to use the word God because it has a masculine connotation. Not to mention, that's not what the divine intelligence calls itself. And here's the secret: the ancients knew, and the world spent centuries trying to make you forget, my friends. All right? The feather in the AKH ASCENSION series always wins because the feather of Ma'at is truth. All right? Truth is lighter than a lie. All right? And it always weighs more, right? Your worth was never actually up for the weighing in the first place, my friends. You are just letting your heart remember that. Okay? Thank you for the love, TikTok. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Consciously spoken. Hey, YouTube, if you still be YouTube, write in the comments here, HERE. I know how to spell. All right? So, the fifth movement is a decision, and it is the beating heart of the whole practice. Don't skip over the other stuff, my friends. Okay? Don't skip over that, my friends. All right? The fifth movement is a decision. All right? You decide out loud. A lot of this is action, spoken words, or creative power. Okay? You decide out loud and you say it like this: I am taking this off the scale. Not because it did not happen, but because I refuse to keep being weighed by it. If you can, say that with me right now, again out loud or in your mind, okay? I am taking this weight off the scale, not because it did not happen, because I refuse to keep being weighed by it. Okay? That, my friend, is the unhooking. Unhooking. That is you taking back an authority you gave away a long, long time ago. The authority to decide what gets to sit in judgment over your own heart. Well, that's power. I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna say it again because that's wild. That, my friend, is unhooking. That is you taking back an authority you gave away a long time ago. The authority to decide what gets to sit in judgment over your heart. Ooh. That's power. Oh my gosh, just saying that just makes me feel better. And I was feeling good already. All right. Whew. Whew. I'm going to put that in the comments on TikTok. I'm going to put that statement in the comments on YouTube. That's power. That's power. That's power, my friends. Okay? So, look, notice what you're doing here. You are not rewriting history, my friends. You are not saying it was fine. You are simply refusing to keep serving its sentence. Those days are done. They're done. They're done. They are done. Oh, Lord, they are done. You decided. You made a conscious decision. The sixth movement, my friends, is the body's part, right? And we cannot skip the body, my friends, because you know what, consciously spoken, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you. TikTok, I gotta give this preamble. I was petrified to come on here and do lives. I just felt some type of something. It was like a really messed up blockage. And I got to say, and it's not about how many likes and how many followers I get. I'm just going to say just the acceptance and affirmation over the things that I say or about the things that I say, the energy I give, the love that I want people to feel for themselves. I so appreciate that open space there. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So before I forget, the sixth movement is and YouTube, I love you. All right. YouTube is the beginning, the middle, and all. All these places are the beginning, end, and all. The divine intelligence is sweeping over all this. Okay. So the sixth movement is the body's part. Because the body is where the weight has been living. And we always got to get with the body, right? You exhale it fully 3 times, right? And each time you breathe out, you let your shoulders drop. And the thing about this exhale is I like to make a noise. Ha! 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 Get that out. Now, so you want to be alone because somebody's going to think you're crazy, right? You can also do it at the beach. When I go to the beach, I live by the shore. When I go to the shore, to the beach, when I'm out there and I'm doing this activity, give it out. Give it out. Each time you breathe it out, you let your shoulders drop, you shake that out, you get it out. You do a little jump around, you get that bad boy out. You do it again. Shake it out. Shake it out. This is no joke. This is real work. This is real stuff right here. This is healing work. You can laugh all you want. Stuff works. If it wasn't working, I wouldn't tell you it worked. My clients wouldn't be doing this work. Okay. So, feel where your shoulders are right now. Are they like this? Feel where they are. For a lot of us, they've been up for our ears for years, walking around like this. I'm being hyperbolic because nobody walks like this, but they've been tight. They've been tight, right? So the release is not only a thought you think, my friends. It's not only a thought you think, okay? It lives in the breath, in the shoulders, in the jaw, in the belly. And when you breathe out, you try to activate your diaphragm. A lot of folks don't know about the diaphragm. That's a whole nother thing I need to talk about, the diaphragm. People breathe I can't even breathe in my chest. I can't even do it anymore. The diaphragm, got to work. It's a huge muscle. We'll talk about that. So, it lives in the breath, in the shoulders, in the jaw, and the belly. So you breathe the weight out. Let the shoulders come down. Let the chest open. Let the body finally believe what the heart just decided. They all have to line up, because if they don't, it's not going to be effective, my friends. And the last movement, I think I'll put all this in the comments for everybody, just a reminder of the movements. The seventh movement, I didn't know it was going to be so much when I wrote this out, but maybe it's a lot. It's all right. And the seventh movement, you close in the silence of a heart that is no longer on trial. You simply sit there for a moment or two in the quiet, and you feel what it's actually like to be a person who is not being weighted by anyone. So this is visualization, right? People teach this. You sit and you feel, but that feeling is like a visualization feeling. You are visualizing yourself feeling unweighted. And then you allow the body to follow suit, right? That's important, because you got to see what it feels like in that moment, so that you understand what it's like in other moments, and so that you know what it feels like when you're in situations when you want to start being weighed on somebody else's scale. You'll remember, this is not the feeling of being released, right? This is not the feeling of knowing the truth about me. Okay? And so, because, and I'll be honest with you, that silence may feel strange at first. You may not even know what's really going on, because you are so used to the noise of being on trial, right? That its absence can feel like something is missing. I mean, I felt that for so long, maybe a year and a half. Like I swear it was like barren. And it was like, I didn't want to accept that feeling. My clients also have that. I don't understand what's happening, Dr. Maad. I don't feel nothing. It's okay. That's the whole point of the practice, my friends, right? That is called peace. Peace. It's called peace. It's called peace. We don't know what peace feels like. Help yourself get used to knowing what peace feels like. That silence is the audit being over in that moment. Okay? And that is the whole point of the practice. 7 movements. You can do the entire thing in just a few minutes. It may sound like a lot, okay? And as you do it, and you can do it as often as it calls you. I'm not one of those spiritual guys that's like, oh, you got to do it. Blah, 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 blah. No, you have your own intuition and guide. I believe that first and foremost in all of my work. I do not discount my client's own intuition. And I want that intuition, right? I want that, because if it evolves from them naturally, if they naturally want to change a particular practice, right, then that is the way it should be for them. There is no boilerplate here, my friends. There never is. That's why all these things people are doing, this is it. This is how you do it. That's BS. Because you got to help people know how to draw out what is innate to them. That is my work. That's where I sit. I have a framework, but I'm not going to push somebody in a box that I refuse not to be in myself. It's a framework. And the client, the seeker, therefore, understands what this work is. They can practice it. And when they're like, yo, I believe I should be doing this way, let's do it and see how it works. I'm not going to say I'm different, but I'm different. So, where am I at here? Let me go to my notes, because my little teleprompter thing got messed up. Give me a second here. Let me get to my little notes here. Okay, I'm getting to my notes. Where we at? I'm not going to do that because time is flying. All right. You want the guided practice? You come to the temple. All right. I'll do the guided practice. If you want me to do it live with you, get a couple friends together. I'll give you a little taste of it in a video. Look, I want to make money. I want to make a living off of this, but I'm here to help people. So if there is a real interest in wanting to sit with this for like maybe just have an example, let me know. All right. And maybe I'll put an event together and do it like, have a little session for the public. Let me know. TikTok, let me know. YouTube, please let me know. So I'm going to get into my notes over here. All right. So let me tell you the 3 places that people get stuck, because I always got to say what could be the possible hurdles. So when you hit them, and you will, you do not think the practice is broken. It is not broken, right? It is just the terrain. It's a terrain, okay? The first place is minimizing. I talked about that. You will get to the step where you're supposed to say, this has been heavy, and a voice will jump right in and say, oh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Other people had it worse. Who am I to complain, right? That voice is the old audit. Don't believe it, okay? Trying to weigh in, trying to keep the weight in place. Do not listen to that voice. When you hear it, just answer gently. I am not ranking my pain against anyone else's. Your pain is your pain. I'm telling you the truth about my own. Forget all them. And then say it. This has been heavy. Women sometimes don't want to go with it. Men, look, we all got that issue. Men got it bad. Women got it bad, especially the women who operate in that strong Black woman type of thing. And the men, they can't even have any emotion, which is BS. Look, that's a whole nother discussion. The second place is, the second place is waiting, right? Some part of you will insist that you cannot put the weight down until the person who caused it admits what they did or apologizes or changes. This is just like, oh my gosh, this is self-abuse, okay? Oh, they got to admit it to me before I can let it go. Oh, they got to apologize before I let it go. Or they got to change before I do anything. That is self-abuse. That's abusive. You're being abusive to yourself. And my friend, I have to love you enough to tell you the truth right here, okay? That day may never come. And even if it did, it would not lift the weight off your chest, okay? Because you are the only one who can do that. Nobody's words, nobody's behavior. You are the only one that can do that. Unhooking is something you do for you. Whether or not that person, that thing, that entity, that place ever said a word. I could be waiting forever for all the people I felt wrong me. I could be sitting in bitterness right now over all the shite I have been through that people, and look, I'm no angel. I done some things to some people too. All right. But the things that have been done to me, shoot, if I can let go, we all have a chance of unhooking. We all do. Okay. So you're not waiting for permission. You're not waiting for their permission to be free. And the third place is the weight climbing back on you. You will do this practice and you will feel lighter, right? And then 2 days later, my friends, the old thing will be sitting right back on your chest. It might even sit back on your chest 3 hours from the time you do this practice, maybe even 30 minutes from the time you do this practice. I'll be honest with you, okay? And so, and you're going to think, that didn't work. It was bullshit. That didn't work. I get it. It worked though. This is not one-time surgery. Okay, this is not going to fix it one time. That's it. In a few minutes, I don't think so. And I always say the work that I have with my seekers is work. It's hard work. It's ongoing. It's discipline. I don't joke about any of this being quick and easy because it is not. I am 59 years old. And it has taken me, I'm going to say, over 5 years of practice to get to this point, right? I even was practicing when I was working with seekers, even before I really got into the practice, right? I mean, we start this work in many ways. We're doing it for ourselves when we start, right? Let's be real about it. But it's not one-time surgery. Yes, I'm 59, baby. The big 5'9", 59. 59. You know, the filters help a bit, but I don't go crazy because I don't want to look all different online. And then when I go to a place, they're like, oh my God, you don't look like that in real life. So I try to keep the filters easy. But yeah, 59. And today I do have on a lot of makeup. And the wig helps sometimes. But anyway, thank you for your comment or your suggestion that maybe I look younger. I appreciate that affirmation. You know what they say. I'm not going to say it. All right. So, you know, it's not one-time surgery. This work is a daily practice. And the reason we made it daily is precisely because the weight will come back. When it does, don't despair. Ever despair. Don't stress out. You just do the practice again. Every morning, you take it back off. That's fine. That is not a failure. That is the work. Okay? So here is the truth about all of this, my friend. The systems that put the weight on you have a daily practice. The people, the places, the things, the societal machinery, they have a daily practice. That rigged scale is offered to you every morning before your feet hit the floor, every day as you're running about doing your business, and every night when you go home and think about the BS, okay? It's always there. So you need a daily practice of your own, or the old weight comes back on, okay? So let me give you the short daily version that you can do in about 90 seconds before the world gets its hands on you, right? Hand on heart, in the dark, 3 breaths. Speak your declaration out loud. I am no longer, period. I am now. I am no longer, I am now. You got to start naming it. Just say, I am no longer, whatever that thing was you had on you. I am no longer, I am now. Let one exhale carry that weight out and close it with 3 words. The audit is over. Boom. That is the whole daily right. Easy peasy. Okay? So you got the long one when you really need to sit in and get rid of stuff. And you got the short one, like you're popping the ibuprofen to get rid of a headache. You're going to do a quick one. Okay? Short enough to actually keep, powerful enough to slowly change who you are. And the thing about the practice is over time, this just becomes second nature. It's no longer you have to think about it. It's just who you are. That's where you want to get. That's where you want to get to. It's just who you are. Okay? That's who you are. And I want you to hold it. I want you to hold yourself to it. All right? So here's what I'm asking you to do. 7 days in the guide. The In Practice Guide. It's there. It's free. It's on the community page on the website. Go get the guide. All right. I call it the 7 days off the scale. For 7 mornings in a row, you do this practice and you mark each day that you refuse the old verdict, my friend. Not because 7 is a magic number, although it is the number of divinity, okay? But because a heart needs repetition to believe a new truth. So does the body, all right? You have believed the old lie for years, whatever that is. I could only get this type of man, right? I could only get this type of job, or I ain't got no skills. Whatever your weight is. And we've got guides for that too. I need to upload them so you can recognize the things that you've been sitting in, right? The recognized guides, the practice guides that I began this whole social media walk with. I'll put some of those up there. Okay, so look, what was I saying? 7 days off scale for 7 mornings in a row. You do this practice and you mark each day that you refuse the old verdict, my friends, okay? Not because 7 is a magic number. Like I said, it's the divine number. The heart needs repetition to believe, learn a new truth. You have believed the old lie for decades, period, with daily practice, right? You've been doing this, believing it daily practice and believing that for decades, okay? You cannot undo that in one good afternoon. If you believe that, I accept you where you are. Maybe to reflect on that a little bit about how effective that has been for you in your life, okay? Feelings fade, practice holds. Feelings fade, practice holds, okay? So give this heart of yours 7 mornings and pay attention, because somewhere around day 4 or 5, most people tell me the same things. They say it started to feel true. Not because they forced it, no, because they finally practiced the truth as often as they had been practicing the lie. And if you get the IB practice guide and you do this, let me know. Send me a DM. Let me know how it worked. That's all I want to know. Send me a DM. Send me an email. Let me know how it worked. How you feel, I should say. And if you had any obstacles. I always need to know that, right? Now, I've taught you to practice today, so it's yours. And you got the IB guide, 7 days, all right? So you never need, so that you never need anyone to do it, right? To guide you through it, right? You can do it on your own. But I know something about this work. Sometimes, especially at the beginning, when we're trying to get into something, it is hard to lead yourself. It really is, okay? Sometimes you do not want to be the teacher of you. I get that. We've got a lot of stuff on our plate. And this, you don't want to be the teacher and the student at the same time. That's a lot, because you're tired and you just want to be held and led all the way through, from the first breath to the last, by a voice that has already walked this road, my friends. So that all you have to do is follow and release. That is one of the things the temple is for. The temple. Inside the temple, I record all these practices, these full practices in full, right? And I have the full guided lay it down practice, the whole weighing and the release from the beginning to the end, so you can lie down, close your eyes, and let me walk through every single movement while you simply let the weight go. It is there waiting for you, my friends, anytime you need it, day or night, for the mornings you can't lead yourself. And yes, there is a subscription for the temple. It's $44 a month. You get a 7-day free trial, $44 a month for 2 years. That's the founder's rate, right? The community's growing. We need more people. I love interacting with folks. I mean, I really truly do. That's where I shine, in community with people, right? I really enjoy that. So, and that's not the only thing that's waiting inside the temple. It's the home of where all this work comes to life. The AKH Ascension, all right. Kim, Melanin Metaphysics, it's all there. And sometimes we got to do the Melanin Metaphysics stuff in a closed system, because I say things that could be truly offensive to some people who just don't understand. Okay, so there's communication that happens there, discussions that happen there that cannot happen in a regular public space. Okay, at least not yet. Okay, so the temple has all the practice guides, including the IB guide, live practice sessions where we do the deep work together in real time, free classes. I have free, like all the gates, in-depth teachings on every single 9 body in there. Oh my goodness, we do live discussions where you are seen. You don't have to figure out anything alone. Real savings on services that I have, my books, and other events that I may have, retreats and pilgrimage and things like that. And every month, you and I sit together for a free intuitive tarot reading just for you. This centers on the bodies of light, and it's a discussion, and it is a 40-minute reading free every month. I love those more than anything else. So today, if I've reached something in you, my friends, do not let it become a feeling that fades by the weekend, okay? Come inside where it becomes a practice and a community and a way of living. Yes, we need many seekers in this metaphysics of Kim. There's a lot of books out there, maybe some YouTube videos, but we need a community of people aligned with the same understanding of Kim and these practices, right? So if today did something, you know what? Join the temple, Power Profit, power-profit.com, and the full guided laid down practice will be right there waiting for you, my friends. So let me leave you with this. You do not have to earn the right to exist. The verdict came the day you were born, my friends. The scale was always rigged, and the feather always weighted more than their lie. You have the practice now. You have your declaration. You have the daily right. There is nothing standing between you and a lighter heart except the willingness to take it off the scale and to keep taking it off every day for as long as you need to the rest of your beautiful life. This is our week in the IB. Next week, we go through the second gate, okay? And we begin to reclaim your name, the Akasha records, right? The Ren, right? Until then, do the practice, speak your declaration, and walk in the black light. Take care of your sacred, lighted heart. I should say lightened heart, my friend. I will see y'all next week. But look, before I leave, I'm doing live tarot readings Friday at 9 p.m. I can't do a multi-stream with TikTok, although I could pull you in TikTok. YouTube, I'm there. I'm trying a new system for streaming tomorrow for these tarot readings, so I can do 2 screens. But for TikTok, you got to be gaming to use a third-party streamer. But I'm going to start with this Monday and Friday AKH Ascension or Power of Release read. And on Fridays, it's a sum up of, we look at maybe things we need to have seen in the week. It's a collective read. I'm not doing it by signs. It's not my wheelhouse. Well, it is my wheelhouse, but that's not how I operate, right? So it's a collective read, and it's a sum up of the week and things we need to watch out for, the good stuff, the affirmations, and then stuff to reflect on. It is an intuitive tarot read. And Mondays, we start the week with an intuitive tarot AKH Ascension read, or I should say power of release read, which of course the AKH Ascension is part of the power. It is the power of release. And that is at 5 a.m. to get your day started Monday mornings. Yes, that's a big leap for me to get up at 5 a.m., but I know how well that 5 a.m. reading worked for me, my other clients. So I'm dedicated to seeing how it works when doing it via social media. So Mondays, it's at 5 a.m. Fridays, it's at 9 p.m. Okay? Those are the bookends to the week. So I hope to see y'all there for the reading. And no, it will not be clips. I will not be clipping it. It will just live on YouTube. Okay? And maybe in Instagram, right? Since that's the only other place I could do never mind. That's my own technical issues. Y'all, thank you. Thank everyone. I appreciate you all. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, TikTok. Thank you. I'm hanging up now. I'm powering off. If you need me, you got my email. Reach out to me. If you need me, DM me. Reach out. I respond to all of the messages I receive. Okay? Love y'all, folks. Be blessed. Bye, TikTok. Bye. YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.